Hi, my name is Marshall Ponte, and today we're diving into a serious issue in plant pathology, Ramorum blight and dieback, caused by Phytophthora ramorum. If you've heard about sudden oak death, you already know how destructive this pathogen can be. But it goes far beyond just oaks. It's a global problem affecting forests, nurseries, and ecosystems, causing millions in economic losses. We'll explore its classification, life cycle, how it spreads, and what we can do about it. Let's get started. So what exactly is it? P. ramorum belongs to a group called umicites, or water molds, which are often mistaken for fungi, but are actually more closely related to algae. This distinction matters because it affects how the pathogen spreads and how difficult it is to control. Unlike fungi, umicites have cell walls made of cellulose instead of chitin, and they reproduce in water, making wet environments their perfect home. This pathogen affects over 100 plant species, including oaks, larches, rhododendrons, and camellias. Some hosts show severe symptoms, while others act as silent carriers, spreading the pathogen without showing much damage themselves. The ability to infect such a wide range of plants makes P. ramorum particularly difficult to manage. The way P. ramorum damages plants varies depending on the host. In oak trees, it causes sudden oak death, a condition where dark, bleeding cankers form on the trunk. These cankers weaken the tree's defenses, making it vulnerable to secondary infections and pests, which usually finish the job. The result is a large-scale tree mortality, which alters entire forest ecosystems. In shrubs and ornamental plants, the disease manifests as leaf blight and shoot dieback. While this might seem less severe, it's a major concern in nurseries, where the pathogen can spread quickly, leading to widespread plant losses and quarantine measures. Beyond harming individual plants, P. ramorum disrupts entire ecosystems, reducing biodiversity and altering forest composition. Dead and dying trees increase the risk of wildfires, creating further environmental challenges. So how big of a problem is this? Well, the impact of P. ramorum extends far beyond the health of individual plants. Since its discovery in the 1990s, it has caused significant ecological and economic damage. In California and Oregon alone, millions of trees have died due to sudden oak death, dramatically changing forest landscapes. The loss of these trees affects not only the environment, but also the industries and wildlife that depend on them. The nursery industry has been particularly hard hit. Once P. ramorum is detected, entire shipments of plants may need to be destroyed to prevent further spread. This has led to strict quarantines in affected regions, disrupting plant trade and resulting in millions of dollars in losses. Despite efforts to contain it, the pathogen continues to spread, making eradication incredibly difficult. Let's take a closer look at its life cycle. P. ramorum has a complex life cycle that allows it to persist in the environment and spread effectively. It produces sporangia, which release swimming zoospores that travel through water, making rain and irrigation key factors in its transmission. These spores can quickly infect new plants, particularly in wet conditions. In addition to sporangia, the pathogen also forms chlamydospores, thick-walled resting spores that allow it to survive in soil and plant debris for extended periods, even under unfavorable conditions. This resilience makes P. ramorum extremely difficult to eliminate once it has established itself in an area. Unlike many plant pathogens, it does not require a wound to infect a plant. Instead, it can directly penetrate healthy tissue, making it even more aggressive. Now, the spread of P. ramorum occurs through multiple pathways, making control efforts particularly challenging. Rain and water runoff play a major role in transmission, as spores travel from infected plants to new hosts. Windborne spores can also disperse the pathogen over short distances, particularly in misty or humid conditions. Contaminated soil and plant debris serve as long-term reservoirs for P. ramorum, allowing it to persist in an area even after infected plants are removed. Perhaps the most significant factor in its spread, however, is human activity. The movement of infected nursery plants, contaminated tools, and even soil carried on hiking boots can introduce Pyromorum to new locations. Because of these multiple pathways, preventing its spread requires constant monitoring and strict biosecurity measures. The impact of P. ramorum can be best understood through real-world outbreaks. One of the most significant cases occurred in the UK, where the pathogen was first detected in nurseries in the early 2000s. Despite efforts to contain it, the disease spread to large plantations, leading to widespread tree dieback and economic losses. The UK government responded with strict monitoring, movement restrictions, and large-scale tree removal in an attempt to slow the pathogen's speed. However, even with these measures, P. ramorum remains a persistent issue, demonstrating how difficult it is to control once established. A similar situation occurred in California, where sudden oak death has killed over 1 million trees since its emergence. This loss has dramatically altered forest composition, affecting not only the trees themselves but also the wildlife that depends on them. The pathogen spread through the ornamental plant trade has further complicated control efforts, leading to strict quarantines and financial losses for nurseries and landscapers. How can we stop it? Well, managing P. ramorum requires a combination of strategies. Prevention is the most effective approach, with strict quarantines and regulations on plant movement playing a crucial role in limiting its spread. Regular inspections and early detection efforts help identify outbreaks before they become unmanageable. Chemical treatments such as fungicides can provide temporary protection for plants, but they do not eliminate the pathogen. Sanitation measures, including cleaning tools, vehicles, and even shoes, help prevent accidental spread. In heavily infested areas, removing infected plants is sometimes the only option, though this can be costly and labor intensive. Research into resistant plant varieties offers a potential long-term solution, but for now, the focus remains on contaminant and mitigation. Why should we care about this issue? Well, the consequences of pyromorum go far beyond plant health. Ecosystem disruption is one of the biggest concerns, as the loss of key tree species alters biodiversity and habitat stability. Economically, industries reliant on forestry and horticulture suffer major losses due to quarantines and plant destruction. Additionally, the accumulation of dead trees increases wildfire risks, posing a serious threat in affected regions. Addressing Pyromorum is not just about protecting individual plants, it's about safeguarding entire ecosystems and economies. So, to summarize, Phytophthora ramorum is a highly aggressive pathogen that spreads through multiple pathways, making it difficult to control. Its ability to infect a wide range of plant species has resulted in widespread ecological and economic damage. Management efforts to focus on prevention, quarantine, and sanitation, but no perfect solution exists. Research into resistant plants offers hope for the future, but in the meantime, strict biosecurity measures remain the best defense against this persistent threat.